In this screencast, we're going to be covering setting up your MailASail email account. The prerequisites for this step are that you've already been to our website and that you've applied for a MailASail email account. So if you've not done that, please stop reading at this point, go back to our website, click the sign up link and make sure that you've applied for a MailASail email address. You will need one in order to follow through the steps in this video. The other prerequisite is that you've been into our download section and that you've downloaded and installed the MailASail Express Mail software. If you have done, you'll see it sitting here down by the clock. It looks like a little red sailboat, and that's our Express Mail software, and it just shows you that it's running. So let's get started. The first thing we'll need to do is right click on the little red boat, and we can come up here to configure email, and it shows us we've got an option Outlook Express. If you're running this on Vista, you'll see that it says Windows Mail. Windows Mail is just the new name for Outlook Express when Microsoft built Vista. So we'll click this button. It gives us an introductory bit of blurb, and it now is going to ask us a few basic questions. The results of these questions are going to use to set up your Outlook account for you automatically. They should be fairly easy to answer. What's your name? My name is Ed Wildgoose. What's your email address? And this is the email address that you requested when you signed up for your account. The one that I'm using is demo@mailasail.com. Press setup. The next thing it tells us is that it can tune the copy of Outlook to be a little bit more effective with a dial-up internet connection. I think the bullets are self-explanatory. You can have a read through, but they generally make things a little bit more slick when you're using a dial-up internet connection. So I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to have the wizard set these settings for me automatically. There we are, that's it. Account creation is complete. We're ready to go. So the next step is let's fire up Outlook Express. Here it is on my computer. Now it's installed on every single computer from Windows 95 through to Vista. You may not be able to find the icon easily, especially if you've installed Microsoft Outlook. Microsoft Outlook seems to deliberately hide the icon for Outlook Express, and although the programs are named quite similarly, what we've got here is an automated installer for Outlook Express. So if you now fire up Outlook, you will find that it hasn't put any settings into it. So you do need Outlook Express. You may need to come down to your All Programs link here and search through it, and it may be hidden in one of the subfolders there, but it's definitely installed on all versions of Windows since Windows 95 onwards, so you do have it. Okay, here it is, it's fired up, and all we need to do to make it check for some new emails is press send and receive. It immediately asks us for a password, so let's put that in, and there we are, we're good to go. Press send and receive, and because we're on Wi-Fi, it checks for new messages very, very quickly, but you can see there it's gone. It's gone to the server, asked if there's any new messages, and hung up the connection again. Not very exciting because this is a brand new account, so there's no mail in it. So let's create ourselves an email message. Now I'm going to send the email to myself, and people overlook that you can send an email to yourself. This tests both emails going out then, and then a few seconds later it tests an email coming back in. So you get double value out of your testing. Lots of people seem to think that you need to have two email accounts to do this. It works absolutely perfectly just to send an email to yourself, travels out onto the internet and comes back in again a few seconds later. So here we are, there's our test email, and to send it all I need to do is come up here and press the send button. Now we can now see that we've got one email in our outbox, and it's important to note that even though we're here on Wi-Fi and I've pressed that send button, the email has not gone and is still sitting on my computer. And the purpose of this is the Outlook has been set up now so that it works well when you're in an offline and connecting via a dial-up connection kind of situation. So it accumulates all the emails as you write them in the outbox, and it only sends them when we come up here and press the send and receive button. And the idea is this thing gives you full control over when you want to squirt the messages out, when you want to pick up a dial-up connection. So if I press send and receive now, that email will disappear from my outbox, and if I press send and receive again, it should now be ready on the server and it comes back into my inbox again. So I send an email out, then a few seconds later after the server's processed it, it's back in my inbox, and the next time I press send and receive I can download that email. Right, let's do another little test, but this time I'm going to explicitly turn off the Wi-Fi so that you can see that it does actually work even when you're not connected to the internet. So here's my little icon. I'm going to press the switch on my computer, and now I can see I've got a red X through my Wi-Fi connection. Let's just delete that message from our inbox so it's a bit easier to see. Come up and create a new email. So let's create test 2. We'll press send on that. There it goes into our outbox. Another test message. Press send, and that's also on our outbox. And we can click into our outbox and we can actually see there's 2 messages there waiting. In order to send those messages, I'm going to have to turn my Wi-Fi back on again. So I press my switch, and hopefully in a few seconds, there we are. It's time to log back onto the Wi-Fi connection. There we are. And I'll now be able to press send and receive. It sends my messages out. Press send and receive again, and I get my 2 messages back in again. Okay. So in a future screencast we're going to cover how to do this over a dial-up connection, but what I would urge you to do is start off, do all your testing over a broadband connection or some kind of connection that you know is cheap and you know that it's reliable and you know that it works. There's no point starting to do your testing over a connection that you're not sure whether it works. Otherwise, if a problem occurs, you don't know whether the problem's due to the internet connection, the way it's configured, whether you've made some mistake in setting Outlook Express up. So it's very useful to start with a known good working configuration. One final little tip is we've built the software in such a way that you can run this auto setup as many times as you like. So many customers seem to suffer from the, should we call it the 16-year-old son syndrome, who has been fiddling and tuning things up for you. All of a sudden it doesn't work anymore and you're wondering how to fix things. The whole point is that you can come back to our little red boat down by the clock, you can right click it, you can choose configure email, and the second time when you come in it's going to say, aha, we already seem to have an email account. Would you like me to check and correct all of these settings? And if we say yes, it goes through and it makes sure everything is the way that we suggest that it should be for optimal performance. Okay, and the point is that you can run that as many times as you like. I'll run it again, configure email. Any time that you're worried that the settings aren't absolutely perfect, you can run through this screen once more and it will put all the settings back to known good defaults. And this can be very helpful if people have been altering with your computer, or if you do have some sort of problem, please run through this step first before you send us an email question. At least that way we know what state the computer's in and we can help you work from there to a working configuration.